Now, we are going to see the types of demand. Number one is derived demand. This is the kind of demand for a good or a service that is required for the production of another good or service. Simply, it is the demand for an input in a productive process. For example, a firm demands for labor so that it can operate to produce goods and services. So that demand for labor is considered to be derived demand. And the same firm may demand for machinery, as I said, or labor. So these are considered to be derived demand. The second type of demand is joint or complementary demand. This is a type of demand in which two or more goods are required to satisfy the same purpose. That means one cannot do without the other. So the two goods are demanded at the same time. For example, a car and petrol. So anybody that buys a car will definitely buy petrol. So the two goods go together. So the demand for car leads to the demand for petrol. So that means car is complementing petrol. So the next type of demand is competitive demand. This is another kind of demand in which a good is demanded in place of another. That means a good has a substitute. For example, detergent. A detergent powder, detergent X, is used for washing clothes, for using plates or anything else. And also detergent Y. These two goods are demanded to replace each other. Now, for example, if the price of detergent X is rising, that means the demand for detergent Y will increase, because people will now say, oh, let us buy detergent Y because they serve the same purpose. So the two goods are considered to be competitive. Now, the next thing we are going to consider is the factors that are affecting demand. As I said in explaining the law of demand, that means the normal law of demand, there are things that we assume to be constant so that that law can be true. So these are the things we are going to see now. The first thing is price. Anything that is being sold in the market has a price. The amount of money payable per unit of an output is referred to as a price. Now, if the price of a good or service is increasing, as I said in the law of demand, the demand for that good will decrease, and vice versa. Other things may be constant. So the first thing that has influence of a good is the price. For example, if a detergent powder X is sold at, let's say, 115 naira. So that is the price. So that price of the detergent has great influence on its demand, whether to be positive or to be negative. The next thing that is affecting demand is price of related goods or service. Now, any good that is being sold in the market has a substitute or has another good that has a relation with the good. Whether the good will complement it or will substitute it. As we have seen in the types of demand, there are goods that have their relation is complementary. That means one cannot do without the other. For example, in the case of car and petrol. So the price of car will definitely influence the price of petrol. Now, if a car is being sold at 2 million naira, for example. So those that have the wish to have a car may say, oh, the price is increasing, so why will we buy it? So when they do not buy the car, they will not even go ahead to buy the petrol. Now, as we have seen, the price of related goods and services has influence on the demand for various goods. For example, the petrol and the car are two different goods, but they are related. Their relation is complementary. Those that are using car definitely will buy petrol. So if the price of petrol is increasing, this will discourage the car owners or those that want to buy car to buy it, because they know that the price is increasing. Definitely they will be buying more of petrol because the price, or it will be costing them too much to buy petrol. So therefore they will decide even not to buy the car, or even if they have one, they may even decide to sell it and buy another thing. For example, they may even buy a motorcycle or any other goods that is being used by petrol apart from car. It can be a motorcycle. Yeah. Now, as long as there is increase in the price of petrol, it will discourage people to buy motorcycle. And on the other hand, if there is a decrease in petrol, people will buy more of motorcycle. Now, the next factor that has influence on demand is the income of the consumers. Those that are buying goods definitely have their own income. They are driving from their various occupations. Now, if people are earning a lot of income, they will buy more of the good definitely. And if they are earning less, they will buy less of a good or service. Even though there are some goods which people are earning more of the income, but they will buy less of that good. So any good that has this nature is considered to be abnormal good. For example, now, so most of the goods that we are seeing are normal because as people are earning more of income, they are buying it more. For example, now rice. Rice is a normal good because as people are earning more of their income, they will buy more of rice, depending on their demand. Now, but gari, for example, this one also has people have intention, or people tend to buy less of gari when they are earning much of income. So this is considered to be abnormal good, because as income of the consumers increases, definitely they will buy less of it, and as their income decreases, they will buy more of it. So consumers can be categorized in different groups. For example, we have young people, and we may have elderly. Both groups of these people have a taste on beverage, for example. Now, the first group, that is the young people, will have more taste towards beverage than the elderly. Why? Because of their age. So people that are young are considered to have great demand for beverage, while the elderly people, maybe because of health condition or whatever reason, they may develop a less demand for beverage. Now, the next factor that is affecting demand is population of the consumers. That is the total number of people that are living in a given geographical area. If there are many people in a particular area, definitely their demand for goods and services will be great. And if there are few people that are inhabiting in a given area, definitely there will be a less demand for goods and services. Now, for example, in Katsina, there are many people. But when we compare it to Kano State, for example, Kano is more populated than Katsina. So the demand for food in Katsina may be lesser than the one in Kano. Why? Because there is too much population in Kano compared to Katsina. So as long as there are many people in a given area, there will be a great demand for the goods and services in that area. Now, the next one is period of festivals. That is the festive season like Salah or Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Kabir, and Christmas or Easter. Now, whenever there is this festive season, people tend to buy more of goods and services. For example, during Eid al-Fitr, people tend to buy more of chicken than any other time. Why? Because it is a festive season. And during Christmas, people tend to buy more of chicken, particularly Christians. So the festive season has influence on the demand for goods and services. Now, this is the last but not the least factor that is affecting demand, which is weather. Weather has a great role played in determining the demand for goods and services. For example, during winter or during cold season, people tend to buy thick clothes. And during Harmattan, people tend to buy light clothes. So weather has, as I said, influence on the demand for goods and services. Now, before we conclude today's class, it is very important to recap what we have discussed so far. Now, in the course of the class session, we have seen the definition of demand, in which we say it is defined as the total quantity of goods and services an individual is willing and able to buy at a particular price and period of time. And then we see the law of demand, the normal demand law, or the normal law of demand, which says the higher the price of goods and services, the lower the quantity demanded. And the lower the price of goods and services, the higher the quantity demanded, other things being constant. While we have also seen the abnormal demand law, which says the higher the price of goods and services, the higher the quantity demanded, and vice versa, other things being constant. And then we have seen the types of demand, where we saw the drive demand, the complementary or joint demand, the competitive demand. And lastly, we have seen the factors affecting demand, which include the price of related goods, weather, festivals, income of the consumers, and population of the consumers. So these are the things we have discussed so far. I wish you the best.